So I got a ton of pushback from my friends in Clemson the other day. I'm just going to say the school quickly so you can't tell if I'm mispronouncing it. On National Signing Day, the Tigers there of Dabo Swinney signed the number 26 class in the country, right? And I pointed out on the show that I like the class okay, but I don't think it's elite by any stretch. I think it falls well short of the standard that Clemson has set for themselves. I think they're off the pace a little bit, and they have been for a couple of cycles now. Now, just to be clear, let's make sure I'm not rewriting or whitewashing history. I have it on good authority. Director Cullen has a brief clip he wants to play because, as always, I don't mind the criticism. I just want to make sure we're criticizing what was actually said. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. So let's go back to the day after National Signing Day. Director Cullen, here's what we actually said. This is 3 straight cycles. Clemson's recruiting is finished outside the top 10. This one finished outside the top 25. It's not a fringe issue. They're not close. Let me put it plainly. Clemson's football players that they are accumulating on that roster are not going to be good enough to meet the standard they've set there. Unless something drastic changes or unless their development laps the rest of the sport or the recruiting rankings were just totally flawed. Unless something like that is amiss, they're not going to be able to keep up. This year's team will actually be their best shot over the next several years. That's the way it looks to me right now. So that, as you can see, is what I said. All righty. By the way, I've gotten a lot of feedback on the show. You spend too much time talking about people who are haters. You spend too much time on negative comments. I'm not really sure that's true. I just want to remind you, we're not taking this all that seriously. It's just having fun with negative feedback. It's not the end of the world, okay? So we can turn the negative feedback into what I think is some very interesting content. That's what we're doing here. So, in the interest of that, I did not think much of that segment when we did it, to be honest with you. But apparently a lot of our Clemson fans did. That's great. Clemson is like our number 6 biggest fan base that views the show. So I am listening. I promise you I'm listening. I promise you, despite the comments I'm looking at on this piece of paper, I don't hate Clemson. Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I don't have a girlfriend that must have gone to South Carolina. No, that wasn't one of her finalists. I do not have anything against Dabo Swinney. He has never denied us a backstage pass, whatever that is. You know what? It's free country. You can comment whatever you want. I did enjoy this one now. Remember, you just heard what I said. There was nothing cut from that. And based on that, I had someone come at me and say, this segment made no sense. They were down 7 points versus Texas in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, I watched the game. I remember it. I mean, I also watched them get drug at home against Louisville. Neither is relevant. I don't care if they beat Texas. I'm not talking about the past. I'm talking about now and in the future. And that's exactly what I said. So I don't really care what they did last year. Hey, quick timeout. Check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, make sure you do. It's free. It doesn't obligate you or sign you up for anything. It just helps us keep the channel free. All right, back to the show. They'll win the ACC again this year. A number of you said that as if it took away from the point I was making. I may agree with you. Did you notice there at the end on the clip Colin played, I made special mention of the fact that I think this year is the last year they have to kind of perform at a level that roughly would meet the Clemson standard. After that, after 2025, I said, I'm worried that they're going to struggle to do that. So there was a lot of rebuttal that I thought was logical. Dozens and dozens of you came at me and said the same thing. And you alleged that I was misunderstanding what they'd just done over there. Yeah, they signed the number 26 class, but there was only 15 kids in it. It was a very small class. Guys, I knew that. I probably should have specified that. I knew that. What I was looking at and what my take on it had that baked in. I don't really look at it as the 26th ranked class. I said it because they're ranked 26th. But you could do yourself a lot of favor. I could have done myself a lot of favor by just going by average player ranking. So there, the average player was ranked 90.48. What does that mean for those of you unfamiliar with how the rating system works? Well, in terms of average player grade, they finished 16th. Okay, so that's 10 spots better. Having said that, I'm telling you, the class just isn't good enough. And this is 3 years in a row they finished outside the top 10. Now, to be fair to them, 2 of those classes were graded number 11 in the country, but I'm looking at the caliber of roster they have. It doesn't look like Clemson over the past several years. The mid-20 teens, late 20 teens Clemsons, which were super teams, doesn't look anywhere close to that. I don't mean they're comparable. I don't mean we're splitting hairs. I mean it's not close. To me, it's not close. And so my concern, and I stated it in the video, is not that they're going to fall off the face of the earth. It's not that Tiger Stadium up there won't still be amazing, and they may not still contend for the ACC. What I said was, I'm concerned that after 2025, the caliber of team they're going to have there, the caliber of roster they're going to have there, is such that they won't be able to meet their standard. The standard at Clemson's compete for the national title, is it not? If it's changed, let me know. If collectively the fan base has gotten together and said, we had our fun last decade or so, we had our fun. We want to just be a good, solid team in the ACC, and hopefully we'll have a couple of blemishes at the end of the road, but maybe, we'll come up on an SMU, and who cares if we lost to South Carolina at home? We'll stumble in the conference title game, still win it, and that'll be good. That's fulfilling. If that's the standard, that's the standard. But I don't think it is. So if you're going to live up to the standard that you set for yourself, you need the kind of players and you need the kind of teams you had. And I don't think Clemson's going to have that kind of team over the next few years unless, like I said, unless, number one, those recruiting rankings have missed badly, which I don't think they have. Number two, Clemson does one of the best jobs in America at developing those players, which they could. I will not put it past them. I think Dabo's made some incredible hires. I think he's really retooled his organizational structure in an effective way. So full credit there. So this may be where they give themselves an edge. Number three, they may have much bigger transfer portal plans than I or anyone else knows about. So there may just be a fundamental shift coming in the way they acquire talent. And if that's the case, then that also doesn't render this moot, but it very much gives me cause to hit the pause button on it. In absence of one or more of those elements, yeah, I've got big concerns about them not being able to meet that standard. I don't think it's unfair. I don't hate Clemson. I think I also said I hope I'm wrong about it. I actually want Clemson to win. There, I said it. I want them to win. And for those who are listening, who know the show, you already knew that was true. And for those who are calling us Clemson haters, nothing I could say would change your mind anyway.